Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My paper today will be about the incidental findings in a small field of view beam computed tomography scans, part 2, which is the interpretation with aid of a checklist. This study done by Jessica Langella from Tufts University in Boston City and her group in a 2017 study by Osser et al., which is the part 1, endodontic resident and radiologist interpreted CBCT scans taken for endodontic diagnostic purposes, and their findings were compared. The results demonstrated that the radiologist is significantly more likely to report incidental findings in a small field of view scans. The limitation of that study was that the radiologist used a checklist of common findings to review the scans. So the aim of the present study was to evaluate the prevalence of incidental findings detected by endodontic residents when a small field of view CBCT scan is read by using a blank checklist to report findings as compared to the findings reported in the study by Osser et al. For materials and method, briefly, in this study, which include 203 small field of view CBCT scans obtained consecutively for endodontic purposes. Each scan was analyzed by a second-year endodontic resident, and their findings were reported via a blank checklist of a common dental radiographic findings. Concordant findings, false negatives, and a false positive were noted. For the results, the radiologist reported abnormalities in 87% of 203 subjects, where the endodontic resident in part 2 reported abnormalities in 91% out of 203 subjects. When we compared the endodontic resident in a part 1 and endodontic resident in a part 2 group, endodontic resident in a part 2 group had a significantly greater sensitivity for identifying any abnormality. But when we compare the endodontic resident in part 1 and endodontic resident in a part 2, we find that the endodontic resident in a part 2 showing a less specificity when we compare to endodontic resident in a part 1. So they conclude that the use of a blank checklist of a common radiographic finding as a tool for the interpretation of a small field of view CBCT scans by endodontic residents increased the sensitivity, but it decreased the specificity of the reporting of incidental findings. And thank you so much.